guys. Welcome. I'm going to give it a few minutes so people can pop in. All right. If you're catching the replay, thank you so much for watching. My name is Tina Marie. I am a mindset and success coach for overwhelmed entrepreneurs. And today is Mindset Mondays. So every Monday I talk about mindset, either money mindset, business mindset, and ways that we can improve ourselves so we can be optimal for business and in life. Hi, Carol. Thanks for joining. So today I'm going to be talking about why we need to have boundaries in life and business. I am a recovering perfectionist and also a people pleaser. And so I tend to allow my boundaries to just like not have boundaries. So that's why I wanted to teach you why we need to have boundaries in life and in business. And so we're just going to dive in. So the reason why we need to have boundaries in life and business is so we don't feel taken advantage of, undervalued, and we're not burning ourselves out. When we don't create boundaries in our relationships, including in business, we stretch ourselves thin. And we start to resent the people around us that ask because we're willing to give, but we haven't established any boundaries for ourselves. And as someone who's grown up to believe that her voice didn't matter, her needs didn't matter, it was really easy for me to be taken advantage of and feel resentful. And that builds anger, and which doesn't bode well for positive vibes and healthy relationships with yourself and other people. So creating boundaries, in a sense, is really healthy for all types of relationships. So this is why I say you need to have them for life and business. And my 3 non-negotiables that I apply through my life and through my business is this. 1, I'm always clear on what I need, or I'm always clear on the expectations. So let's say if I'm about to work with someone on a project, I say, okay, this is what I see as important. This is what I'm going to bring to the table. And this is what I expect to get done by this deadline. Regardless if I made the deadline, if they made the deadline, or somebody else made the deadline, having clear communication is a non-negotiable. It is improved in my personal relationships. I've done better with speaking up on my needs with friends, with clients. And the reason why you want to be clear and give clear communications is set expectations on both sides. There's no, how do I say it? How many times do we get into situations and we expect the other person to just know what we need, or we expect the other person to act a certain way because we would act a certain way? What we have to realize is everyone was raised differently, everyone grew up differently, and everyone else has different values or expectations as well. So sitting down and opening up those clear expectations with everyone, that's why that's a non-negotiable for me, because it eliminates any miscommunication. It eliminates any thought process of wondering what the other person needs, or wondering why your expectations or your needs are not met. And so if someone isn't showing up, or you are not showing up after laying out those clear communication and those clear expectations, then you would know how to proceed. And so part of that clear communication is being clear as to what would happen if those expectations weren't met. So for example, I'm going to say business, since I'm a business coach. This is why we have contracts, not just to legally protect ourselves, but it sets expectations. Not only do I have a contract with my clients, but I'm also implementing this in my group program, is I'm going to have a group coaching agreement. And on top of that is I'm going to have within the orientation meeting is as soon as they sign up, as soon as you sign up working with me one-on-one or sign up on my group coaching program, you're going to get a welcome letter telling you exactly what the expectations are, what you're going to receive, and what the services are, so you know. But I'm also going to do it in video. Not everyone likes to sit there and read an email. So just in case they didn't read that, I'm going to have a welcome video explaining all those things, because some people are visual or auditory learners, so they'll take that in. And the reason why I do that, it's not, what's the word? It's not an obligation to do that, but it is smart business practice and setting those boundaries. And I lay out clearly things that are in the contract, but let's be real, not everyone reads all the details in the contract. I clearly state what the expectations of the client in showing up. What are the expectations of me as a coach? What is the expectations if you're to cancel? Hey, Kim, if you canceled a session with me, if we're working one-on-one, if you're missing that, I make clear expectations about the cancellation policy, if there are any fees. So there's no surprises. And I make clear expectations on what my clients need to do in order to fulfill their end as the coachee, as the client. There is, and I make sure to be clear about that, because there are myths or expectations of coaches that are not realistic or doesn't apply to an actual coach. They actually apply to another industry. So making sure at the very beginning that I'm very clear with communications about what coaching is and what the expectations of the service, that eliminates any like, well, I expected to have this and I expected to do this and I expected you to deliver this. It makes it really clear. So if one person's not delivering, me or the coachee, we can address that. And in the contract and in my welcome orientation videos, it's like, clearly, this is how we're going to proceed. And that's my second non-negotiable, is I stick to my word. Is if I say there's going to be a consequence, whether it's on me or whether it's on the client or whether it's a relationship that I have with someone, I stick to that. I don't bend on that, because if you bend on those boundaries, then it leaves an opening for, well, you made this exception this time. So there has to be, if you're going to make an exception, you have to be clear on that. Again, clear communication on why we're making an exception at this. And this is supposed to be not necessarily an anomaly, but this is not a normal practice. But in this instance, in this relationship, in this experience, this is the change I'm going to make. But I very clearly, if someone's going to cancel in the policy, I follow through with my contract. And you have to do that. And I think a lot of parents understand this too. You have to kind of follow through. Otherwise, kids will, they're like, well, mom or dad didn't punish me that last time, even though they said they will. Let's see, I can get away with it again. And adults think of that as well. Not in the way that what they can get away with, but if they can get away with something, they're like, well, she didn't really give me the fee last time, so it's really not that big of a deal. Hey, Joy, thanks for joining. So it's not really that big of a deal, then I can cancel again. And then when you lay down the law and actually apply the fee or talk to them or apply the punishment, that's when they get really upset. So you have to follow through with your words, and you have to be comfortable that you're going to follow through what you set forth. And that goes vice versa. So as a coach, I have to deliver what I say I'm going to deliver. And if I'm not going to, I put it in my contract that I will give them an extra session. No extra charge, extra session if I have to cancel for whatever reason. I go above and beyond with my customer service. But I also keep boundaries, because I can go above and beyond so much that people just expect everything. That's what I used to do as a bookkeeper. I used to give a little too much to my clients and they expected the world. That means they could get a hold of me at any time. So that's another thing. That's my third non-negotiable. And when creating boundaries is being clear on having me time. So I have strict times that I tell my clients when they can get a hold of me. If I do respond to them, then that's, out of the ordinary, but usually they can expect for me to email them back or respond back to them between the hours of my office hours. Otherwise, I won't. And it's important to have those boundaries both in life and business, because you can easily just be working 15, 18 hours a day, always constantly fielding out client requests, spending more time doing that than actually working on the projects or working with your clients and coaches, which is going to make you feel burned out. So I limit how my clients get a hold of me. Only my one-on-one clients will have my phone number, and they are only allowed to reach me between office hours. And if let's say they text me, they know I'm not going to respond until the next day during office hours. My group coaching clients don't get my phone number because there's going to be so many of them. But I tell them they can either post in the Facebook group, they can email me, and I will respond within 24 to 48 hours. Most of the time, I respond between 12 hours, but I like to give myself a buffer just in case if there's a crazy day, ton of meetings, and I'm not able to get to it. So people don't feel disappointed that I didn't meet those expectations. But you need to set those boundaries. I know back when I was in bookkeeping, I'm sure a lot of my previous clients, and some of you probably do this, is you just allow them to reach you at any time, and you'll respond to emails at any time and all the time. And you will feel burned out and you'll feel undervalued, and you haven't really created that time for yourself to set in your mindset as well. This is work time. This is family time, or this is me time. And if you don't have a family, maybe it's, time with your partner, or time for yourself, or some of you are still doing school while you're building your businesses. This is time for school. You're never going to get that rejuvenation. You're never really going to feel valued and feel creative if you don't create those boundaries and be very specific, like I did, like how they're going to communicate to you and how you're going to respond. So think about those things when you are working with your clients. And for those of you who have customers, like you're more on retail, set up a system where I think Zendesk can hook up to any Shopify or e-commerce platforms. And if you have frequently asked questions, you can have that pop up on your website. Or if you have like a little chat box, you can put onto your website. It's like, hey, customer service hours are between here and here. We will get back to you as soon as possible. If you are a smaller team, there are ways to communicate to your clientele and your customers when they can expect a response from you. One thing that I've learned that has been really disappointing, I had a conflict with Zoom, not with them per se, but something with, and I put that request in back in May. I still haven't heard back from them. That's not great customer service. So try to follow through as much as you can. I know they're actually probably bogged down with the uptick of people using Zoom and a limited team base. So that's another thing you probably want to think about planning. We'll talk about that in a business strategy live. But creating boundaries is really respecting yourself, and you are teaching your clientele, your family, your friends, anybody that you have relationships with to respect you as well. And don't worry about a fallout immediately. People are going to be upset because you put up boundaries, but after a while, they're going to get used to it, and it's going to be their new normal, and things are going to be fine. For people who are really, really upset with having the boundaries, it's really a reflection on themselves and their own personal relationship. Is they're not feeling like they're getting their needs met or getting their way. And there's just some people with a victim mindset that haven't moved towards thinking that the whole world is against them. That is not a reflection on you. That is something they have to deal with, and you have to be okay with it. And as someone who's a recovering people pleaser, that took me a few years to actually learn and be okay with. So those are my 3 non-negotiables. Just to summarize, is always have clear communication with everyone. This is something that I've been working on with my personal relationships, but professionally, I'm very on point with that and setting expectations and being clear. So that's part of being transparent. If I'm not going to be able to be getting a hold of, or for some reason I can't show up, I let my client know, or I let my audience know. Just like yesterday, I was supposed to do I'm reading White Fragility in my little allies group, but yesterday I could not do the discussion because I could not think, because I had a huge migraine. I had to protect my health there. So I was very communicative with them and saying, hey, I'm not going to make it. I rescheduled this time. I'm really sorry, but I can barely open my eyes. And everybody was fine. So just clear communication. That is a way to set boundaries and a non-negotiable. Second is setting boundaries, not only for yourself, but people around you, of how they can communicate with you, when they can communicate with you, and when you need to have me time. So me time is a very big non-negotiable for me. Otherwise, I feel burnt out, unvaluable, and I'm just a crabby person to be around, and I don't like that person. And so I don't want to be that person. So in order to do that, I set some me time, and I set the expectations that Sundays I don't work. I don't work. I don't respond to emails. I don't respond to any work emails. And if I do, I usually take like a Monday off and I switch, and I'll tell people that. But after business hours, you're not going to get an email response from me. You're just not, because that's going to be my time spending with my husband, having dinner. And if it's date night, I for sure am not listening to my phone or not responding to my phone. And some of you are probably thinking, I can't do that in my industry. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You just need to find a way. And third, I think I kind of slipped my mind with the third one, but is, what was the third one? Oh my gosh. I think I need coffee this morning. I think the third one was me time. So one, setting boundaries of how people are going to spend time with you, when to spend time with you. And the third one was making sure you have me time to rejuvenate. So those are my tips, the reasons why you need to have boundaries in life and business. Thank you for joining me today. I will see you guys tomorrow for Biz Strategy, and have a great day. Bye, guys.